Okay, so it is Tuesday afternoon. I've got an inquiry call in 20 minutes. I need to send a link through in about 10. So I'm just going to try and do a little bit of a recap over, like, brief overview over how last block went and also body weight updates. So after my heavy session on Saturday, because I didn't eat between, like, apart from a couple of apples just before my session, I didn't eat from 8 in the morning until I got home at 4. So you can imagine I was starving. So my boyfriend and I did order a takeaway from, it's like an Asian food like restaurant that we've been wanting to try for ages. And it was really good food. I didn't intend to overeat, but I did end up, I think when I finished, I sat back and I was like, I didn't realize quite how full I was. So body weight obviously naturally took a little bit of a jump up after that. So I was 87.0 Saturday morning, 88.0 Sunday morning, 87.9 Monday morning, and then 87.3 this morning. So normally it takes me a good few days, like 2-3 days for my body weight to kind of settle back down after like going kind of over on my food. So quite happy to be at 87.3. Obviously the goal for the end of February was originally to see an 85 and we are nowhere near that. But I have been a lot more lax with my diet this month. Not generally day to day, but I think every single week I've had either a meal out or a takeaway, which is very out of character for me. But to be honest, mentally, I've definitely struggled a lot more this month. So I'm not upset that I've done this. Like, I've still got plenty of time. And with me now being 12 weeks out from comp, like, I know I'm going to dial in a lot more. I know weekend after next, or weekend after this one, it's one of my friend's birthdays. So we're going to go to a gym and like train together and probably go for food and stuff on the way home. But my boyfriend's also said to me that he feels ready to dial in now because he wrestles and stuff. It's important for him to also eat well, stay in shape, and just like train regularly and stuff. So we've kind of agreed that we're now gonna kind of dial in properly. And to be honest, I was saying this last night, like we've been together for coming up to 4 years now, and it's so, like, we can probably count on our hands the amount of times we've just sat on the sofa and ordered a takeaway. Like, we don't really do that very often. So it's been really nice the last couple of weeks because we've been really tired and stuff anyway, like, and obviously having a puppy's not the easiest. Like, it's been really nice just being like, should we just order something in? So I have enjoyed it and it's been worth it, definitely. But anyway, so body weight, I am planning on, can't get my thoughts out. I am planning on obviously continuing to drop. Like, I'm still cutting. My calories aren't that high. It's just the days I've gone over, they've obviously then taken me out of that deficit. That's not an issue. I'm fine with that. Going to continue with my calories, macros as they were last week, which if I remember off the top of my head or if I can find them. So training days, 200 carbs, 170 protein, 75 fat. Rest days, 150 carbs, 170 protein, 95 fat. Now, I'm not planning on dropping those again for a while because that is pretty low for me, especially carb-wise. I feel good on that though. Like, I do genuinely feel really good. I'm also going to make a much more conscious effort to prioritise pre-workout carbs, which is something I did definitely slack on quite a bit last block. But again, mentally just wasn't in the best place last month, or like the last few weeks. So it's going to be a combination of both of those. I'm now about to get attacked by Zuko. Anyway, I'm not getting to the point that I wanted to get to. Hello. I hope no one watching this thinks that's disgusting. So, right, what's going on? My last block, I changed quite a lot on bench. So squats went really well. Because it was a 5-week block, fatigue built up a little bit quicker and I probably should have taken the normal jumps that I would rather than slightly smaller. I definitely felt fatigued last block, but I also wasn't really prioritising rest as much as I should either, and obviously nutrition wasn't 100%. Actual structure though, squats, I'm not going to change anything. Squats are still going incredibly well. I've literally been, other than the fact I'm now doing a high bar on my secondary day, that's the only thing I've actually changed to my squatting structure throughout my blocks in like 18 months plus. Like, it's been a long, long time. Since All England's, was it All England's? Maybe Manchester Open 23? I think Manchester Open 23, it was literally after that I tried this cycle out for my squats and it's been working so well. So gonna just continue rinsing and repeating until that doesn't work anymore. Accessory wise, gonna add in some more pressing accessories on my Sunday. So I've added in chest press machine, 3 sets, minimum 10 reps, but all 3 sets pushing pretty much to failure. Moderate load, nothing crazy heavy, but just enough to obviously get that pump and push it to pretty much failure. And then straight after we're going to be doing weighted press ups. So we're going to just work up to 1 heavy set. Zuko is eating the birthday cards that are on the side. So we're going to do 1 like set to failure of weighted press ups, take the weight off and just do body weight AMRAP, just to add in a bit more pressing volume. Bench press, I am going to keep the structure of the week that I did last block. I'm just going to add in a little bit more volume. I'm mostly to my last and press day. That's kind of the only change I'm really going to make, I think, from the top of my head. I need to get my block up in front of me to know that for sure, but I'm also running out of time, so I might, if there are changes, just do voiceovers or something like I did last time. And then deadlifts, rinse and repeat. Deadlifts have been going really well. So overall, last block was definitely a success. The changes I made to bench definitely paid off. No complaints there. The main lift that I'm now going to have to really focus on figuring out what's been going wrong is bench, but I don't necessarily think anything's actually been going wrong. I just think my elbows and my shoulders haven't been 100% healthy. I think trying to focus on flaring obviously upset my shoulders, and my elbows just weren't overly happy anyway, and they hadn't been for a long time. I used straps for my accessories on Sunday, and already I can feel a big difference with my elbows, so that's fantastic news. And I'm going to continue. I've got my straps in my car now. Like, for months I've been meaning to use them, but I just kept forgetting to take them with me. So they are now in my car, so I will always have them for my accessory days, and gonna just, yeah, slowly increase bench volume. As long as at comp I bench like at least 110, 112, which I've done before, and I know I can do kind of any day, I'm gonna be pretty happy, because squats are gonna be a massive PV regardless, and deadlifts should be too. So if there are any other changes that I haven't covered, I will mention them obviously as the week goes on through my videos, during the sessions, after the sessions, that sort of thing. But there's not gonna be tons of changes. It's just gonna be a bit more bench press volume, to be honest. I wouldn't mind working up to more bench press volume overall, potentially more days. Like, I'm completely open to whatever works for my bench press. I am also really excited because in a few hours I am doing Agatha Shitko's coach's seminar, or like watching the seminar, on high frequency SBD training. So Agatha does, I think she's now doing 7 SBD sessions a week, but she was doing 6, which is obviously unheard of. And her coach Powell is doing a seminar online. It is at 6 p.m. So plan is, I've got my consultation call at 3. As soon as that's done, I'm gonna have my pre-workout apple. I've done pretty much the rest of my work for the day. I've even caught up on my accounting and taxes. It's ready for the end of the tax year, so I'm very proud of myself for that. I've literally been putting that off for ages. Client replies, pretty much all done. I've got literally one more to get through, but they've only literally just sent it through as I started recording, so that's not urgent. I'll probably do that after I've trained, before I do the seminar. So yeah, gonna train at 4. My goal for this block is to kind of get a more regular training schedule in terms of time that I'm training. So I'm going to try and train at least weekdays at 4 p.m. Like, that is the goal. But I think that will probably be really good for me to also do on the weekends as much as I can too. So that is the plan. Gonna have more structure, gonna prioritize pre-workout carbs a lot more, especially for my heavier sessions as the block goes on. And we're gonna dial in for the next 12 weeks. Gonna get myself down to weight, hopefully by 1 block out. So you could just lay it on my tripod. Hopefully by 1 block out, 4 weeks out, I will be at least in the 84s, not necessarily under 84, but in the 84s. And then I'm just gonna continue, I think, in my deficit, providing strength all feels good, until comp, potentially after comp 2. Like, I would still like to get below 84 and just sit there for a while, and let my body kind of settle there. But we're just gonna take it a week at a time. We're gonna just see. But my food and stuff, like, I still feel like I'm eating more than enough food to function, to be happy, to feel full. So no complaints from me, all is good. I feel pretty positive about how things are. Just need to figure out what's going on with my bench press. But again, I think a lot of that is just the fact that I haven't been able to push volume because of my elbows, and I haven't really done higher rep bench in quite a while, which I know before did work really well for me. So gonna deep dive into the archives of my programming from when I actually managed to get up to a 120 bench, which was like December 2023, I think, and look at the program for that. And I do think from memory, the main difference was just that I was doing more rep work throughout a lot of the year. So gonna just look into that. But anyway, gonna stop talking and get ready for this call.
Bring that gun
Okay, so I've literally just finished squatting and set the bench up. Well, I've set most of the rack up. Just got to put the bench back in. So week 1 of the block, started training kind of 20 past 4ish. That's about the time I want to train. So happy with that. Although I did realise, I said I'm going to aim to train at 4 at least on my weekdays, but preferably every session. And actually tomorrow I'm painting the house with my mum again. I'm not going to do what I did last time and train first thing in the morning. I am going to train after because I think she needs to leave at like 4:30ish anyway. So tomorrow will be a little bit later probably, but that's not really relevant. Anyway, week 1 squats, felt decent. Every single time it gets to week 1, I'm like, thank God, super light, super easy, you can just smash it out, get it done, no issues, we're really comfortable. And every single week 1, everything just feels unnatural and weird, but it's just because there's so much obviously fatigue from the heavy week of the block. So actually everything moved as it should. High bar, the fact I did high bar 5s at 130 on week 1 as well, I did have a bit of a balance issue on the first rep that I filmed on that first set, but it was fine after that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this time last year, like whenever I last had a high bar program, which to be fair, I think was coming up to 2 years ago, but obviously I haven't done that variation since until recently, I'm pretty sure I could barely do 130 high bar. So really comfortable 5s on week 1 is cool. Base is definitely getting a lot stronger just generally, so happy with that, happy with how my top set was. My left wrist after this last Tuesday squats is still very painful because I had the bar in a really uncomfortable position. And I definitely noticed it on squats, like even just warming up with like 70, my wrist didn't feel great. So something I have to be mindful of. I think worst case scenario, if it doesn't feel like it's starting to improve over the next week or 2, I will probably do my back offs on a Saturday, also high bar, because high bar doesn't hurt my wrist at all. So we will see. It's definitely partly a positioning issue when it comes to low bar. But I've said this many times before, like I have wrist issues. Like I've had wrist issues as long as I can remember, like before I even powerlifted. So I do have to be very careful. But overall, no, squats were absolutely fine. I just need to remember that week 1 will never feel fantastic. Now moving on to tempo bench. So I said earlier, like there's not tons of changes to anything. The main thing is just bench volume. So on this day, I used to do a tempo top single and then back off triples. So I'm not actually going to do a single on this day anymore. I'm just going to stick my 1 single of the week on a Saturday and see how that goes, because I don't really need to be doing multiple singles a week anymore. So today I'm going to be doing tempo triples at 90. I'm going to plan to add 2.5 kilos each week. So the final week of the block will be triples at 97, which should be absolutely doable. I did that at the end of last block after a single, so not an issue. I'm very big on building the base, so I tend to work over like 3 blocks at a time when I plan things. So now that I'm 3 blocks from comp, I'm obviously planning where I want to be at comp in 3 blocks for my singles block, and then I kind of work backwards from what I want to do for my doubles block, and then what I want to do for my triples block, which is this block. And I kind of plan backwards almost, but obviously realistically knowing where I'm at now and where I should be in 3 blocks time in theory. So that includes with bench as well. So bench this block should in theory be a little bit easier, at least on my rep work days. My singles, a little bit different because I'm trying to get my confidence back up with my singles. So that might be a little bit more like high intensity, but with bench you can get away with more intensity. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. But today isn't going to be an overly heavy day throughout the block. The plan is to just keep focusing on positioning, keep focusing on tempo. Plan is probably going to be to keep tempo in until comp, and then after comp I will turn this into a higher volume day. What I might do, because I think I said earlier, my goal for comp, as much as I'd love to PB my bench, at the moment I think it's priority to build my base on bench, because the main priority for this year is British and having the biggest total possible for British in December. And that means in a lot of ways continuing to build my base now. Like for example, if on squats, my goal was, obviously I'm hitting a massive PB at powering through, like that is the plan. So my comp in May that's 3 blocks away. If I wanted to make sure I was getting everything out of my squat possible, I wouldn't be doing high bar still, because I know my squat feels best when I low bar, higher volume low bar twice a week. So that would be my back offs today also being low bar. Partly because of my wrist, partly because my elbows are still kind of healing, they're finally on the mend now. But also because I want to keep building that high bar, because I know it has a good carryover for me long term. I'm keeping that all in because powering through in May is not the priority comp of the year. British in December is. So as we get closer to British, my training will be more specific for squats as well. And same thing with bench. So basically I'm thinking to myself, I am going to keep tempo in for now because I think last block it worked pretty well. And I don't want to change too much at once. So I think I said this earlier, but the main change, I'm pretty sure, I could actually check my phone, that I'm making for bench this block is higher rep Larsen and press tomorrow on my lightest day of the week. So I think I'm going up to, so rather than doing ascending 5s, I'm going to do ascending 7s. It's a very, very minor change. But But what I would like to do long term is put higher volume on this day, like no more tempo, higher volume, just normal comp style bench with decent pauses, sets of like 5+ reps, but also maybe doing some closer grip as well, just to keep a bit of variation in there, which will also help keep my elbows healthier. But for the time being, the plan is still to focus on consistency, and I'm just going to slowly tweak things every block or two, see how it carries over, and figure out what works. Because if you change too many things at once, you won't know what's working. I think that made sense, not entirely sure. But I do want to crack on because I've got an hour and 5 minutes until the seminar with Agata's coach. So, I mean, Ben should literally take me like 15 minutes anyway, so it's not a problem. But I do want to eat beforehand, or at least have my food at the desk while I'm listening to the seminar. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's such a different way to train, and I'm really intrigued by it. And I'm not going to lie, in the back of my mind, I'm like, maybe I need to be doing 6 days SPD. I mean, if I wasn't working, like Agata is a full-time coach, not full-time coach, Agata is a full-time lifter. So I think that's why it works so well for her, because she has that time to recover more. But obviously I'm a bit busier than that, which obviously I would love to be a full-time athlete, that'd be sick. But I think she's even said that that's a big part of why she can get away with it. But I do think her coach programs quite a few people, like 4 or 5 days SPD a week, and I'm sure he'll cover that in this as well. So very intrigued, very interesting. It's really cool because I think a lot of coaches that I look up to are going more to like, I'm not going to use all the technical terms because I feel like I want to keep, like, my biggest thing with putting out content is keeping things as simple as possible. But basically a lot of the coaches that I know, that I chat to, that I look up to in this space are now going back to a very like more of a non-specific type of training. So still keeping the main movements in obviously, but going to a lot of variations and again, building that base but through different movements rather than just focusing on SBD and volume in that sense. It's like a lot of like incline bench and just high bar or SSB and loads of reps and like AMRAPs and different variations, do like hack squats, pendulums, like more variations, taking away and stripping back and not focusing as heavily on SBD when they're further out from competitions, which I do think is a very sensible thing to do. And I think generally speaking, a lot of people do that, but there's like a more extreme of it at the moment, which I really love. And then you have the polar opposite, which is Agata and her coach running 6+ days SBD a week. And it's like, that's obviously working, but so is the other method. And I just think it's really interesting, like the complete difference that we see. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm really using my hands a lot to talk, which annoys me a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna crack on with bench. Session is complete. Took me just under an hour, so pretty happy with that. It's now 5:15, so going to head in and make some food quickly before I jump on this seminar. Nothing to really say. Left wrist doesn't feel fantastic after bench, but I think it'll be okay. Nothing else to really say. Steps, I realised. So last week I was a little bit under on my steps on a few of the days. I didn't feel well. But I actually looked today and I still am averaging over 12,000 a day, because obviously I've gone over on quite a few days like before last week. I'm still actually averaging 12,000 a day, so as long as I hit 12,000 a day for the next, 3 days, then I am successful in wanting 12,000 steps a day. So pretty happy with that. Obviously it's not 12,000 steps every single day, but it's an average of 12,000 steps a day for all of February, so yeah, I'm very proud of that. Obviously I'm not there yet, but the plan actually is to hit like 13-ish thousand every day this week. So, well, I say every day this week, like literally today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, on track, pretty happy. Don't know what I want to aim for next month. I don't know if I want to try and keep up with the 12,000 or if I might do a little bit less. But I'm going to set myself a goal, even if it's just a goal of go for a walk every night before bed, or like 6 nights a week. Probably whatever goal I set, I'll allow myself like 1 day a week to not, maybe like a Friday, just allow myself to have a bit more of a relaxed day with it. Although actually I'm in the office on a Friday, so that's not going to work, so I'm walking in there and back, so maybe a Monday. Monday can be the rest day, I don't know. I'm going to come up with some kind of goal or plan for next month though, because I think it's just good to have something to aim for and something to strive for. And obviously the extra movement is going to help with my weight coming off when it finally comes off. But I feel ready mentally to dial in now. Like I say, there's still going to be the odd social event planned and stuff like that. But for the most part, like, I've not really got anything in because I know comp's coming up. I probably won't plan much. So we're going to just go full steam ahead, 3 blocks out. Want to put up something incredible in May. So I say incredible. I want to put up a big performance compared to what I last did, like a big total PB. I'm not going to speak specifically about goals, but the plan is just to put up a big total PB in something I'm proud of. Obviously, it's nowhere near where I want to be still, but I'm going to enjoy the fact that I'm there, and just have a really fun comp. So we'll see. I also ordered on Vinted. I found a new singlet, orange and black A7 one. So I really love the orange and black A7, and I really love the emerald A7, but I'm too poor. I say poor. I'm too tight with money to want to buy them, which is actually why I ended up powering through, because usually if you win or top 3 get A7 vouchers. I don't know what that works out as for each person, but I'm pretty sure the winners last year got like a full A7 kit, and I don't want to have to pay for a full A7 kit. So I was like, I'll just enter this comp, even though by the time I've paid to enter, driven there, like I'm probably going to spend what a kit would cost. But I've been looking on Vinted like constantly over like the last year for an orange and black one, and now I look for the emerald one as well, and I finally found an orange and black one that I got for £35, providing the person ships it. I was just waiting for that to be shipped. I also got some plain black wrist wraps on there as well. So very excited for that. I don't really treat myself to these things. This is me who has I'm literally such a hypocrite. I've been saying about saving money for ages, and I've just bought these things I didn't need. But they are things I've wanted for ages and I will obviously wear, so we'll see. And then the plan is hopefully place top 3 and get some kind of A7 voucher. And then, I mean, I'd love to win, but it's all done on good lift points, and I don't know what other people's good lift points are. Like, I don't even know what mine are, so I'm just going to kind of see. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Hopefully that arrives soonish. It is an extra large though, and I don't think I need an extra large. I think I want a large, but I was like, well, it's cheap, so I'll just order it, try it on, and then if I need to resell it, I can resell it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's not that interesting though. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to head in, I'm going to make some food, get ready for this seminar. I was meant to do my accessory day today, so normally I do an upper accessory day today, but because I finally was able to push my accessory Sunday using straps and took a lot of pressure off my elbows, my lats are so sore, and my chest is really sore as well from doing extra chest press and weighted press ups. So I think because I've got this seminar as well, rather than rushing around after that, because I don't know how long that's going to last, we'll just do our upper accessories tomorrow after I've deadlifted and benched. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, just push it back by a day, which won't make any difference in the long run, because Thursday and Friday are also rest days, and obviously it's a very light week one, so my main lifts won't suffer for that. So that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to end the video here. If you've made it to the end, thank you, I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.